hey, how about some more creepy and unsettling and thought-provoking videos I found on TikTok? And to be honest, other places online. Life is exciting, but not exciting enough. Let's check out these videos.
For the weekend, President Trump tried to ramp up the pressure on Senate Republicans using his weekly address to urge them to repeal and replace Obamacare and finally deliver on a campaign promise Republicans started to make 7 years ago.
Oh, that one is kind of fun. I mean, it's probably just her hair and the shadows and the lighting, but if that was the case, you'd probably see it with a lot more female news actors. That lighting, they'd be aware of it, but it is weird looking. You're probably also bringing something into mind that looks kind of like this, you know, these weird lizard puffies that they do that. They do that. Here's the problem I have with lizard people. It was first brought up by like David Icke, who was originally made famous by saying he was God. And everyone went, wow, you're a crazy person. You're not God. And then he went, lizard people? And everyone was like, okay, yeah, I can get on board with lizard people. And he went, great, lizard people. We'll do that. And I can't take anyone seriously when they start out by saying they're God until nobody believes them and then coming up with a different thing. So, yeah, I don't really, it's hard for me to get on board with the whole lizard people thing. But that video is weird and it's fun and I like conspiracies, so she's a lizard person. And it's a good segue into our next clip.
By the way, my friend, you made major news the last time you were here. Did you realize that?
About the alien, the shapeshifter.
You dropped a bombshell. Every paper picked it up.
Let's just say I was with somebody once and I saw a transformation that I can't explain.
The person transformed into something other than human.
Yes, I saw it.
You were talking to someone. They said to you, look, something's going to happen here. I'm going to morph into something else.
Imagine you're doing something and suddenly you turn around and there's somebody else standing there.
You still standing by it?
Absolutely. I know it happened. In fact, it happened twice. And on top of that, what's amazing is we live in a world where, you know, I mean, look, I've been in public life on some level for 30 years.
Yep.
People treat it as if I'm
crazy. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm here to say, like, now maybe I had a hallucination, but I saw what I saw.
Right. You saw it. It's your reality.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, to question somebody's reality is a strange thing.
The second time you saw a shapeshifter, where were you? Probably at Darcy's house.
It was the same. It was the same person.
Oh, it was.
This happened with the same person twice.
Billy, when will you announce who this person is so I can investigate? Seriously.
I wouldn't name names.
But it's a famous person, right?
I wish it was somebody famous.
Yeah, because then that would be awesome.
Well, think of the book sale.
It was like Justin Bieber.
If you release their name, they will be famous. They're shapeshifters.
If I told you in private the story, could you keep my confidence?
Yes.
All right.
Now, here's the good thing about telling me something. Within a minute, I forget, because I think everything is nonsense.
I will tell you the story.
You will?
Yeah. And I will say,
go ahead,
since we're on radio.
Thank you.
That the story is even more fantastical than you think.
Wow.
Can you give us something?
The person was naked.
Wait a second. Were you in bed with the shapeshifter? Were you making love?
I will tell you in confidence.
Holy mackerel. Now I'm with you. It was a woman. You made love to her.
Haven't we all experienced this?
Did you? Oh, believe me. I've been with people who shapeshifted. Right? But their personalities, they were completely different people before and after. Are you saying it was a lover who actually shapeshifted?
I can no longer discuss this.
All right. Should we commit him? Billy pulled me aside. He pulled me into a corner. He goes, "You ready?" I said, "I am." And he told me what happened when he met the shapeshifter.
Could you tell me?
If Billy says it's okay, I'll tell you.
By the time we get permission, you will have
Well, you always break me down. I'll end up telling you if you get to me quickly before I forget it.
All right.
Well, saying David Icke is a crackpot is one thing, but this is Billy Corgan. The man wrote Siamese Dream and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. I mean, he's a rock and roll genius. And if he's a rock and roll genius, then he must be highly credible in all areas. He's great. So you know what? There's there's lizard. Well, he never said lizard people. He said shapeshifters. So lizard people, no. Shapeshifters, there's got to be. It's Billy Corgan. Also, maybe it's more of a they live type scenario where they're projecting the image they want you to see into your brain, something like that. I don't know what he saw, but that is pretty interesting. How about we look at another one?
I have been saying this for so long, and finally we have someone from inside the club come out and confirm that everything we're thinking is absolutely correct.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided that they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40-50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment.
Is that not the conspiracy that we've all been talking about? Governments around the world actively trying to increase unemployment and cause pain to hundreds of millions of working people in order to scare them, to scare you into submission, to make you fear for your livelihood so that they and their corporate overlords can make even more money off of your labor. Speaking to those workers out there, I just want to remind you that you are already more productive than ever without getting paid for that increase in productivity. All of that wage growth is only going to the top 1%. CEOs are making 351 times more money than the average worker, up from just 21 times the average worker in 1965. Corporate profit is no longer correlated with employee compensation. It's a completely rigged neo-slavery system that they're trying to construct, and it's all out in the open now.
He's right, He's dead on. And one of the things that people don't realize, or it's not as often talked about when it comes to inflation, is how it devalues your labor. It increases the prices and makes everything more expensive, and in doing so makes all the money that you take home, even if your paycheck is the same as it was pre-inflation, it's now worth less. You're basically making half as much, and that's, I think, by design of these incredibly wealthy individuals who kind of run everything. A lot of talk about how bad socialism is, a lot of talk about how bad communism is, but I think everyone should be shifting the focus from socialism and communism to oligarchy. Like, that's what's happening. It's these insanely rich people that are running and ruining everything. So, I mean, is there no length that these rich a-holes won't go to in order to secure their power? Let's take a look at another video that is related to that point.
The Titanic was a hit job. It was no accident or mistake that the Titanic sank in 1912. You think all the richest people in the world on the world's safest boat dying in a single boating crash was an accident? There's not a chance. Basically, all of the world's elites at the time had already purchased tickets and were scheduled to take this cruise together. You're talking about the Rothschilds, the JP Morgans, and Mr. Astor, who was the richest American at that time. He owned nearly 40% of every mortgage in America at that time. The story goes that the Rothschilds wanted to create a central bank, but Mr. Astor and many of his extremely rich friends, who basically controlled the country and all of its politicians, opposed the central banking system, and they would never allow a central bank in America. So when all the world's richest people boarded the ship right before the boat took off, the Rothschilds and JP Morgans all exited the ship just minutes before takeoff. So now all of the richest people who opposed the central banking system system ended up dying from an iceberg. And now that all of the rich people who opposed it are dead and no longer paying or bribing all of their politicians ended up working for the Rothschilds and JP Morgans instead, who were still alive and able to bribe them without any opposition now. The very next year, in 1913, they started the Federal Reserve Bank with almost zero opposition. Crazy conspiracy theory or TikTok fact? Let me know your own thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, I could see that being possible. Probable, even. We're talking about a time before CCTV cameras or GPS tracking or DNA. So in order to get away with something, all you had to do was not get caught at the time you're doing it, and you got a pretty good chance of getting away with it. And starting a privately owned, the Federal Reserve, a privately owned bank that is the country's official bank, is big money that we're talking about. I've got a book. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island. And it's all about them starting the Federal Reserve and how incredibly shady it was. I feel like we are living in a world that's controlled more by people that are similar to Thomas Shelby or Daniel Plainview. Like, those are kind of the people that run everything. It just it is the way it is, and it stinks to high heaven. But what can you do? I know. Watch another weird video.
Symbolism will be their downfall. Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGenerate. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now, see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says evil thoughts with revenge right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house, and this is the picture behind her. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga, and she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teaching. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair, but what is that picture above her head?
It's art. It's Jean-Michel Basquiat, specifically. All of those were Jean-Michel Basquiat, and she must be a collector. I don't blame her. He's an awesome artist. He was a neo-expressionist from back in the, he used to hang out with Andy Warhol and all them. He's an awesome painter. And I think that a lot of the celebrity occult stuff, like, oh, look at the symbolism that they put on this thing, or in the background they've got. I was in a band once, and we had to do album art, and the first thing I thought of was like, oh, look up some alchemy stuff or some occult stuff, because they got weird symbolism all over the place, and throw it on there. Just, it looks cool. So I think a lot of people are putting about that much thought into their what they're putting out there, because you need the content. Like, you need to make the album art, you need to have something. So, like, what do? Like, oh, throw some weird symbols on there, people will talk about it, and then they're talking about me, which is good. So I don't think it's anything too nefarious, except Ellen is, from what I understand, I never met her, but I hear she treats her employees pretty terribly. So there's that. But I don't think she's dabbling in the occult. I think she just likes Jean-Michel Basquiat because he's awesome. Next clip.
Late one evening, a few nurses decide to take a break and enter a floor of the hospital that is rumored to be haunted. According to the uploader, many people in this particular ER have passed away, and although it's rarely used, mysterious activity is frequently witnessed. Many nurses refused to enter the old abandoned ER alone, but since they were investigating together, they decided to give it a shot. This is what they captured.
Oh! The curtain moved. Yeah, it did. It moved. It moved. It moved. Yes, it did. It did. How did you not see that? Oh, okay.
Truth be told, I'm not really a huge ghost guy, But what kind of creepy, paranormal, conspiracy compilation video doesn't have at least one halfway decent ghost clip in it? And this one, the reactions seem kind of genuine, and it wasn't obviously staged. So, yeah, it makes the cut. My favorite things to watch or learn about, I say learn very loosely, that term, but I like ancient lost civilizations, I like UFOs, and I like anything that has to do with the moon or Antarctica. Oh, and inner Earth, not hollow Earth, because I don't think Earth is hollow, but I do think there's a lot of weird stuff going on underground. What are your favorites? Hey, while I got your attention, if you like what you've been watching and you want to see more content of this nature, I plan on updating twice a week. Ideally, it'll be Saturday and Sunday. I'll upload a video on Saturday and Sunday in the future, and you can subscribe if you want, and then there'll be more of these videos. All right, let's look at our next one.
Darkest conspiracy theories. The Earth virus theory. This theory states that the Earth is a living organism, and we, you and I, the humans, are the virus. The Earth grows plenty of free food, and every animal seems to balance and coexist on Earth in sort of a circle of life. For instance, bees pollinate crops, moving from one plant to the next, fertilizing each plant. It's beneficial. Even though they're taking pollen, they're still being beneficial. But humans, we seem to not benefit the Earth at all. We're more destructive. We clear rainforests, kill the ocean with our plastics, puncture giant holes in the ozone with our chemicals and fuels, and we cause man-made climate disasters. We don't seem to coexist. But before I continue, question time. If aliens were about to destroy the planet, and one came up to you, they chose you, and said, if you show us 2 things on Earth of why we shouldn't destroy this planet and kill you all, what 2 things would you show them to save the Earth? Let me know down below. But anyways, think about the human body. When we're sick, our body creates antibodies to kill off the viruses. That's exactly what the Earth does to us, creating earthquakes, droughts, tsunamis, and other natural disasters. Let's face it, we're destructive in nature. And while a tiny bit of us do try to help the planet, the majority of us selfishly harm it. Maybe we are the virus.
No, I don't buy it. I get it, because the Matrix said it, but saying that natural disasters are a way of Earth trying to rid itself of us, the virus, when really there's been a long history of natural disasters wiping out entire species way before we even existed on it. And earthquakes happen because of plate tectonics. They're not the Earth's B cells. Volcanoes, same thing. Like they're happening as a result of just how the Earth exists. You could have no life on the Earth, and it would still be having earthquakes and volcanoes and hurricanes. So I don't buy that. If to answer your question, I was to show aliens 2 things to persuade them from murdering everybody, wiping us out, I would probably show them cat videos or dog, like just cute pet compilation videos. And I know the response would be, well, that's cats and dogs. That's why they should exist. And I would say, but who is recording them? They can't record themselves. We have to exist so we can record animals being adorable. And then the second one would probably be, I don't know, the piercing eyes of a Siberian husky that you seem to have, because those have got to be contacts, right? Like nobody has eyes that intense just naturally, because if so, like, lucky. I missed he hit the genetic lottery on those eyes, right? Anyway, on that note, I think that's going to do it for this compilation. I'm also thinking of starting another series. I have narcolepsy, and I have these crazy, vivid, lucid dreams a lot, and I always want to record them and talk about them. I often explore things in the dreams and try and figure out the differences between dream life and waking life, because like they are, to me, I don't know how it is for everybody else, but I'm told the narcolepsy gives me these crazy vivid dreams, but they are the same as reality, and I am aware that I am in them, I'd say about half of the time. And when I am in the dreams, I start exploring. I see like what I can and can't do, what I can and can't create, what it is, what that reality seems to be compared to this reality. And I think there's some pretty interesting stories regarding the dreams that I've had. If you're interested, I might throw up a few videos along those lines. Maybe you'd watch them. Then again, I know on Always Sunny, he says, dreams are like pictures. I don't want to see them unless there's people having sex or I'm in them. And I get that. I get it. So, I don't know. I'll throw one up and see how it does. If there's any interest, cool. If not, that's cool too. But I am a diagnosed narcoleptic, and I do have crazy vivid dreams. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Okay.